Yo, the light. Oh, that you never make it, hopeless, so it seems. And yo, the lies told that you never make it, hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands is open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto, choose what I get to. Never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Welcome all, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lion Villain Report. I'm your host, Russell Wayne, broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page with over 58,000 in there. Thank you to everybody that is liking and sharing and commenting to the UDFA, the Tom Kennedy of sports podcasting right there. So thank you all for your support. Detroit Lions News Podcast. Shout out to Joe Chapp and the boys on his Twitter X and on JC Sports Network on YouTube, as well as the Villain Squad YouTube page. Brought to you by NFL Shop. You can use the link that is coming into the comments right there to save yourself up to 30% off of your order. Thank you for your support to the Lions Villain Squad from the NFL Shop. Right there. It's faith, family, and then football. We use football to spend time with our family and to create memories. We don't let football use us. But most importantly, join the conversation. And here we are. It's Saturday, and we got some key matchups. Got a big game going on tomorrow. And I want to say hello to all of my villains in the comments right there. Scotty Reno's here first. Good morning to you, Scotty Reno. Here before the YouTube promo drops. Love it. Netflix was horrible last night. Good morning to you, Dwayne. Good morning to you, John. Good morning. Good morning to all of my friends here on Saturday morning. It's like Saturday morning cartoons when it comes with this. But yeah, Jake Paul, I mean, like we'd said yesterday, what a clown show that is. I didn't watch it. I kind of predicted what's going to happen in there. I mean, come on, guys. We're watching pro wrestling in a sense right there when it comes with Jake Paul. I mean, did anybody watch the undercard? I guess that's what I'll ask. If anybody out there was watching the undercard, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, do you think that did something good for boxing, or do you think this is this boxing on the way out? Because ESPN, on their article, they say, this is quote, Andrealis Hale from ESPN. At 12:30 in the morning, Jake Paul defeated Mike Tyson by unanimous decision in an 8-round heavyweight match at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on Friday. All three judges scored the fight for Paul at 80-72, 79-73, and 79-73. The fight, sanctioned by the Texas Department of License and Regulation, was contested in 2-minute rounds. Both boxers wore 14-ounce gloves instead of the regular 10-ounce gloves for heavyweight fights. Tyson, 58 years old, and Paul, 27, a YouTuber turned boxing, were scheduled to meet July 20th, but the fight was postponed after Tyson received medical attention during the flight to Miami flight from Miami to Los Angeles in May for an ulcer flare-up. Tyson, 50-7, 44 KOs, became the youngest heavyweight champion at the age of 20, 1986. A year later, he had unified all three major belts to become the undisputed champion. He made 6 defenses of all three of the bouts until losing in a historic upset with Buster Douglas in a 10-round KO in 1990. Paul is 11-1 with 7 KOs, started his boxing career in 2020 with 6 consecutive victories, fighting mostly MMA fighters. So, I don't know. Dwayne says the fight was just ridiculous. I mean, can the guy box? Can Jake Paul even box? I mean, what are we even talking about here? Do you think that this fight, this put a lot of eyes on boxing? I mean, what stands out in this article to me from ESPN? What stands out? Well, first of all, it's the first sentence. Jake Paul defeated Mike Tyson by unanimous decision in an 8-round heavyweight match at where? AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I mean, when was the last time that a boxing match was contested in a stadium? So, I mean, you could make the argument that Jake Paul is helping put eyes on boxing. I mean, they did have an undercard, did they not? I mean, is there any information on that undercard? The fight card, what we're talking about. What are we talking about here? We're talking about, is Mike Tyson, or not Mike Tyson, is Jake Paul ruining boxing? That's been a topic of debate that's out there. Do you believe that? Why for yes and for no? Whether you're watching the broadcast right now or you're watching the broadcast later, this is the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Is he helping or hurting boxing? I mean, I think it's a legitimate question. Paul Jones says that fight was a jab and run fest. And throw the fight out, like the quality of the fight. We all knew this. Like, we're all smart enough on this program. People that come on here, I know we all are, to know that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, it's a clown show. They showed up in a clown car with their clown suits on, and they put on a clown show. But what are we looking at right here? When I'm looking at this, I'm looking at Katie Taylor defeated Amanda Serrano via unanimous decision. Mario Barrios defeated versus Abel Ramos, ended in a split draw. You know, are these undercard fights? I mean, these are these legitimate undercard fights? Because the fact of the matter is Jake Paul put eyes on all of these fights. Right here, Jake Paul put eyes on all of these boxers. Do you think Bruce Shoo Carrington versus Dana Coolwell would fill up AT&T Stadium in Texas? Yeah. Now, you and I can agree. We can look at that fight. We can look at that fight, and then we can say that fight sucked. Okay, that fight sucked. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson sucked, right? Like Scotty Reno says, Tyson's legs were dead. His knee locked up several times. Paul played defense with his longer reach. The undercard fights were pretty good. So the overall thing is, yeah, you can look at the fight and go, man, that fight sucked. I can't believe people spent, but you didn't spend just money. He's putting eyes on boxing. As far as I knew, is all of those other boxers that were on this fight card right here, this fight card, they were boxers. So the main event was a clown show. Whatever. I watch WWE. I enjoy WWE. And they have all of their fights that are, you know, they're predetermined. But it's still entertaining. Now, this may not have been entertaining, but there was a lot of people that watched that. That was a big pay-per-view gate. So a lot of people put their eyes on boxing. So, like I said yesterday, it's like the ball boxing needs is a good promoter. And that's what Jake Paul is. You know, some of the boxers that even said that, you know, does he have some boxing skills? I don't know. I'm not a boxer. Elise Memes in the house. I'm glad I didn't stay up to watch LOL. Yeah, you can watch it on a replay. I noticed something this week. Everyone said Skip had a bad game and JMO caused a pick, yet no one mentioned that Sewell blew a block that led to a pick. Crazy how people omit some people. I don't know. I think that you're looking at one post, and some people, I mean, I've definitely heard a lot of people talk about how Penei Sewell had missed the block that led to a pick. I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and they said that about Jameson Williams too. They also said that some of the picks where he threw behind some of the players too. So it's like, I think that, you know, it sounds to me like you want to throw some shade on Penei Sewell for missing a block, and that's fine. I mean, they didn't have a great game in the first half, so I mean, I can't. I can't disagree with you on that, but I don't know about people omit some people. I mean, it's okay. They both had their moments in that game. But what I will say, one funky Lions fan, before we go in there, what I did like is how both of them, let's go back to that, right? They both had a bad game. Skipper had a bad game, and J-Mo had a bad game, right? But they had bad games at the beginning of the game, and even Skipper, J-Mo, and Sewell for 3 quarters weren't that good, right? And when they were asked to do something in the fourth quarter, that offensive line was dominating in the fourth quarter if you isolate them. And I would rather have my guys playing better later in the game, to be honest with you. And yeah, I don't think that people are omitting it. It's like we're just waiting for that complete game. One funky Lions fan. That was a crazy fight. I knew he would win. Most boxers know when the time is up to keep on fighting, but I don't know what was on Tyson's mind. Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs. You know, they're trying to put on a good show to everybody that put money onto the pay-per-view. He's not hurting boxing. It's been struggling since the late 90s. Oh, wow, since Tyson was relevant. You got an N on that one. Jake held Tyson up for 8 rounds, so he didn't look bad. I give respect to Jake for that, but because he could have ended it at any time. Good morning to Maurice. One Funky Lions fan says, I watch a ton of YouTubers and don't remember one person bringing up Sewell. By the way, I argue with non-Lions fans that Sewell is a first ballot guy. You want to argue with me about that? I mean, Sewell's the best player on our team. I mean, he missed the block in the last game right there, but I'll argue with you all day about that. I don't know if you're agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. Are you agreeing with me? I mean, I think he is a first ballot guy. I think he's doing things at 24 years old that are amazing, and he's only going to get better. Sewell is great, and I've brought up Sewell a couple of times on this show about Sewell. Oh, you say that he is. Okay. One Funky Lions fan and I agree on this. I think Sewell is the best player on our team. I think he might be the best player in the NFL for how he can affect. I mean, watching this guy out in open space, you know, dump truck little defensive backs out in the open field says it all. I mean, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous game out there when you got a running back that's following Penei Sewell. That being said, the greatest players of all time have struggles. It's not like Penei Sewell's going to play a perfect game every game for the rest of his career because we think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, eventually, Penei Sewell, you know, is going to lose on some reps, but for the most part, you know, he didn't have a great pass blocking game in the last game, but what he did have is a great run blocking game. Harpozo says, who supposedly won the fight? Well, it's just like how we thought it was. I mean, you know, when you're putting the fight script in there, you're not going to pay Tyson millions and millions of dollars to come in and beat you or anything. To me, that would have been great for boxing if, you know, especially if it is somewhat WWE-ish. Since it is WWE-ish, that he would go with the script of having the most dangerous man in the world knock him out. But no, he's still trying to prove that he's a legitimate boxer by beating has-beens and old people. I mean, Tyson whooped my ass. There ain't no doubt about that. But, like, You're trying to pass yourself off as a legitimate boxer. Now, on that end, I don't think that he does that at all. But at promoting boxing, I think he's doing a great job. You're putting eyes on boxing. And in this world that we're in, the internet world where everything is available so quickly, boxing in itself, it's a beautiful art form. Hand-to-hand combat. That's never going to get old. That's been popular since the beginning of time. Guys fighting each other. So the skill part of it, boxing will never die. You just got to draw attention to it. Got to have people looking at it. Look at this. It looks good, right? Cool. Yeah. Montana missed an open receiver once. He's still in the Hall of Fame. He missed a hell of a lot more than one. That's the funniest thing I listen to about old timers that watched old school football. Like you put these old school guys on this high pedestal, like they never made mistakes. Like, all these guys, I mean, this is the highest level of competition. So if you just do well, you deserve your flowers. But sometimes we put these guys on these high pedestals. I mean, Joe Montana, I don't even think he threw. Did he throw for 4,000 yards at all? I think he might have thrown for 4,000, but it was just a different type of football. And that's why I love our Detroit Lions now. I think our Detroit Lions embody that old 80s type of mentality where we want to run the football. We want to control the football. I mean, running backs used to be everything. I mean, if you didn't have a good running back, you weren't shit. That's the way that it used to be. But now it's such a passing league that it's like the running games has went backwards so much that they've even devalued the position to the point where they want to look at us and go, well, you drafted a running back too high. Nobody drafts running backs too high. It's like, well, not necessarily. It just means you're devaluing the position. Now, quarterbacks they're always going to be the most valuable. The field general, they're always out there the most. But when you think about it, especially if you expect a running back to carry the ball 20 to 30 times a game, that's who's touching the ball. And defenders that are out there, those are the ones that deserve to get paid the most. But Lions flipped the script. I mean, Montana flourished in an era where a bunch of quarterbacks like Jared Goff thrived. Good pocket quarterbacks thrived in the 80s. And they had, defenses that were allowed to hit people, but you had running backs that were out there. You had bona fide, franchise running backs. Now with salary cap, you're asking general managers to budget all of this money, and they got to figure out where to save this money. You see how that can spin off right there, Paul? Like Montana missed an open receiver once. Let's not put these guys too high on the pedestal, because when you look at this Lions team, this Lions team is special. They're doing special things. I don't see them letting up. I don't see them, having a team like Jacksonville being able to trip them up. I don't see it. They don't have playoff aspirations. They're not trying to come back with Mac Jones on this season. Let's be real. This would be an ultimate speed bump if somehow they were to win. So the key matchups to me is right. You're looking at it right there. I mean, I know that we got some players that are in there, but I'll take it's the coaching, just making sure that those people don't beat you. Trayvon Walker, they have a good defensive line that on normal circumstances they can get in at the quarterback. Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, they can get after the quarterback. They got 12 and a half sacks on the year in between them. Fortunately for the Lions, we have Penei Sewell, and then we have Taylor Decker. So strength on strength, even if they don't win all the matches, even if they give up a sack or two, we're going to be able to hold their strength at bay. Now, the other matchup being their quarterback. They have playmakers and offensive, Brian Thomas could be an up-and-coming star. But the defense, Dan Campbell, biting kneecaps. We're going to bite a kneecap off. They need to play that stout defense. They need to get a shutout in this game more than any other game that they could have. Now, that's not going to determine whether I think it's good or not, but this is the type of team. Mac Jones shouldn't be running anything on you. You want to have an ascending defense? If you want us to believe that you have an ascending defense, Aaron Glenn, and that you can keep it up, put a full game together on defense. Put a full game together on offense, because I haven't seen it yet. I mean, am I sitting here going to criticize a 8-1 team? I'm not going to criticize them because I'm happy to be 8-1. But what I am going to do is say that there is room for improvement. There's plenty of room for improvement. I remember, Mike, when he was 19 years old and he was a beast back then. This Mike Tyson, if he would have ran into Jake Paul in that old version, that Mike Tyson at 19 years old was a killer. I mean, he was destroying people. They didn't know. So if Jake Paul, you think that you could beat Mike Tyson in his prime, dream on. Dream on. If you thought that and you really thought that, then you needed to knock Mike Tyson out. At 58 years old, you needed to do that. If you actually could believe that you could have knocked that man out when he was coming up. He was a killer. He would chop the tree down. And it wasn't, people thought it was all the uppercuts, and it wasn't the uppercuts. It was those body chops that he could do. He'd get in there and he'd move to the left and right, and then he'd have those body shots, and he would break somebody down and open their head up. He would not have been able to take that. Harpozo says that Russ, football was different back then. Too many reasons why, but Brad and Dan are getting it like it was back then. That's one of the reasons they took, like we took Gibbs at 12. And it is. We're putting value in different spots. And it's a copycat league. And with them going and being in all this passing and creating defenses that try to stop these explosive pass offenses, it leaves weaknesses on the field that the Lions are exposing. Wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown exposing that over the linebacker underneath the safety zones. And now we have a running game that pulls those safeties either up or back. It's either going to widen the zone that they can throw into, or it's going to make it very advantageous to run on. So they're taking an old school approach. I agree with you. That's a great comment right there. One Funky Lions fan, running backs in the 80s were in the top 3 of salaries on their teams, but now they're in the bottom 3. It's true. And, I think everything comes full circle. Offensive tackles and DNs. That's they have nothing to lose, and we are the best. We are the best at not looking at what the media says. Yeah, that's why I feel confident up here, Harpazzo, to tell you that I think the Lions are going to win this game by double digits, and they are going to cover, because I can sit up here and talk all the shit that I want. And anybody from the outside can go, oh, you better focus on the Jaguars. You better stop. Now, what do you mean? I can talk all I want. I'm not in the training room. I'm not there. I don't have to calm down. I can say yeah, we're going to kick everybody's ass. I'm a fan. We're enjoying this, Breathe it in. Drink it in. Because here's Steve right here. He doesn't believe in the Lions like we believe in the Lions. He's a Packer fan. That's why I believe in the moment. We're 8-1 right now. But that doesn't even guarantee a winning record. I mean, you could lose the next 8 games and be 8-9 and miss the playoffs. So we're drinking in the moment, 8-1. And then if they go to 9-1, I'll take another 7 days to take the moment in of the 9-1. I'm not getting too cocky with it. And I know in this comment right here, Harpazzo, they do have nothing to lose, but the Lions are ready. The Lions are ready to take everybody's best shot. Steve says, are the Eagles now the best team in the NFC? No, the Lions are. Lions are the best team in the NFC. Paul, on paper, this game should be a blowout for sure. Yep. Not yet, Steve, although the media wants it that way. They have the number 1 defense in the league right now. Yeah, but they don't have as good of a record. The Lions are the best teams in the NFC right now. I've picked every game at 27-23, wrong on every score, but we won every game. There you go. Lions defense is decent, but they are not the best in the league. Our offense is the best in the league. And Philadelphia can have the best defense in the league, and it doesn't matter because we've already ran through the best defenses in the league. And the Lions have the number 1 scoring defense in the league right now, number 1, number 2 scoring defense in the league, and the number 1 offense in the league. So you're right. The Lions aren't the best team in the NFC. They're the best team in the NFL. Steve says he wants to say hello to all the Packer fans on here. Go, Pack, go. So he's saying hello to himself because the rest of the Packer fans are in witness protection. Yeah, I like the new storyline, Steve, for sure, for the WWE. And I know, segueing out and talking about WWE and Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. The crazy thing is now WWE is owned by a corporation called TKO, which I believe is the same guys, the same promoters that just put on this event. And coming in 2025, the WWE is going to be exclusively on Netflix for Raw one of the pay-per-views. I don't know if that's going to be all of the pay-per-views on there, but yeah, I think that they're going to be no longer in the PG era of, getting fined by networks and whatever. Them being with Netflix means that you might even get to hear a wrestler drop an F-bomb. So they're getting ready for that. I'm pretty excited for that. So, but honestly, all kidding aside, Steve, the not the Green Bay Packers, but the Philadelphia Eagles have been a scary team since the beginning. The Philadelphia Eagles are a real team that could definitely challenge on that NFC side. Like, that is a team that has a lot of young talent that we were just kind of, oh, well, the Eagles aren't that good. What's wrong with the Eagles, right? What's wrong with the Eagles? They say that. And they're like 7-2. And I'm like thinking, if you're feeling this way about the Eagles and they're sitting there at 7-2, 8-2, they're at 8-2 right now. They got a 2-game lead on the Commanders with the tiebreaker. So the Eagles, they're trying to stay pace with the Lions right now. And I think that, the Packers and the Vikings, I mean, we'll have to see. But the Lions actually have a couple of winnable games right here. The Lions should be sitting at 10-1, unless the wheels fall off. I don't know what the Packers and the Vikings are going to do over the next couple weeks. I mean, the Vikings got the Titans this week, and then they got the Bears next week. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because you got the Bears. I mean, the Bears were so high on themselves just a few short weeks ago. And it's like, it's amazing how a couple weeks can change everything. But when you look at these records right here, the Eagles are cruising right now. And, they got a schedule. They got to play the Rams. They got the Ravens, the Panthers, Steelers, Commanders again, Cowboys, and Giants. So they're not even, I mean, they're going to beat the Giants. You could think that they're going to beat the Cowboys are a dumpster fire. They're not going to win without Dak Prescott. Panthers they're doing better, but they're not gonna lose to the Panthers. They could lose one. I could see them maybe dropping this one to the Rams next week, but I can't see any of the other ones right there. So you're looking at the Eagles possibly only losing one game, maybe 2 games for the rest of the season. So that's an Eagles team. To Steve's point, like I'm just being realistic with you. I'm a Lion fan too. I would just love to tell you that they're just going to cruise right to that 1 seed and everybody's going to watch out. I mean, you could be looking, that could be the NFC championship right there, Lions versus the Eagles. And then you look at the Lions side of it. We got through the hard stretch right here. When we were looking at our stretch going into that Cowboys game, because you got that road deal, because we got done whooping on the Seattle Seahawks, but then we get into the stretch where like it's Cowboys on the road, Vikings on the road, then you come home for 1 game, and then Packers on the road, the Texans on the road. And I couldn't lie to you if I told you that I thought I thought we were going to lose some of the games right here. I had us slated at 12-5 at the beginning of the season, the Lions. And a lot of that had to do with this stretch right here where I think I had us losing 3 of these games. One, like going 2-3 in this segment right here where you got the Cowboys, Vikings on the road, Packers and the Texans on the road. I thought, if we could get out of that at 3-2, I was feeling good. 5-0. 5-0 for that. And now the Lions actually have what you would call a lighter schedule right here. And I'm sorry, Bear fans, but we want revenge. And your teams, I mean, unless you get some stuff together, I would love to see you win 2 in a row going into the Lions game. But you're not going to. The Packers are probably going to beat you this week. And then you're going to lose next week to the Vikings. And then you're going to lose the week after that. So these next 3 games right here, I could see the Lions being at 11 wins. Right there. They should win those games. Now, Packers, I don't know. Packers on that revenge tour or whatever you want to call on that. But that's the Lions at home. Right there. The Packers, we just have had their number, 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. So, and they did beat us the last time at home. But these are all winnable games right here. The ones that I throw up in the air the biggest are these 2. On the road in San Francisco. And then at home versus the Buffalo Bills. I could see the Lions for sure having a chance to lose a couple of those games. So who else do we got in here? We got teams that we know that we've already beaten. We've already beaten the Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals. And looks like the Cardinals are trying to be good. So out of the NFC, there's an opportunity right here. I still like the Falcons. I like their young team. I think they have a chance to be pretty good. Still. Harpozo says that the Eagles were lucky to beat Washington. Oh, cool. Jeremy B's up in the house. Good morning. That was a major problem in the March. Netflix crashed a lot. So Netflix is trying to figure some stuff out right here. This year's college playoff should be an exciting year. I'm one of the players that thought the minute that they did this, the minute that they came out and made the college football playoffs, that eventually college is going to be just as big or bigger than the NFL. And it's just because, you're talking about parents with their kids. I mean, you think about some of them big house games or the games down in a shoe where you're talking over 100,000 people, and those students and those fans of teams, they get way more fired up than anything in the pros. Now, I understand that the Lions have a special environment, so they do create a college type of environment, but that's not in every stadium. Good morning, Russell and the villains. Jeremy's up in the house. Their fan base is going nuts up in Philly. They hate Sirianni. Yeah, that's the funny thing is like Sirianni's like the cockiest coach. And he struts around like he was the one that coached that championship team. We're going up against the coach this week that coached that Philadelphia championship team. And Doug Peterson. Sirianni is way too cocky for not having won anything. You know, I love the swagger of the Detroit Lions, but there's one thing about the Dan Campbell is he is humble to the opponent that he's facing. You know, Jeremy and I here on the outside, we know that our first ranked offense should be able to dump truck this 32nd ranked pass defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We know that. And we don't have to take it for granted or, you know, oh, we better watch out. No, that's the coach's jobs. And I have no doubt in my mind. I have the utmost confidence that Dan Campbell and his coaching staff will have this Lions team ready to go tomorrow against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when they blow the Jaguars out, it's not going to be because Russ was up here being cocky. It's just because I know how good they prepare for games. And it is what it is. It is what it is. So, yeah, the fans going nuts in Philadelphia. They hate Sirianni. Well, we love Dan Campbell. Iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Russell, does see Deion Sanders becoming the new head coach for the Cowboys and drafting his son Shador? That would be epic in a way. Think about it. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know what Jeremy thinks about this. I mean, they may have him become the new head coach, but Jerry Jones is such an idiot that he won't get out of the way of the guys that actually know football, and he sticks his little big 25-foot nose right into that business. It's like, be a billionaire, pay the players, and sit over there in the corner, Jerry, and shut your hole. And then your team would be better. Because of you, they drug their feet on paying Dak Prescott. Because of you, Jerry Jones, you drug your feet on paying CeeDee Lamb. And because you, Jerry Jones, decided to do that and try to be smarter than everybody, you just get to pay more for all of your great players. Kudos to Brad Holmes for not being Jerry Jones in that situation. That the minute that it was eligible to sign Penei Sewell long-term, you saved as much money as possible. You got him out the door, market value right now. What do you think Penei Sewell's contract would cost if they would have waited till next year? You know, maybe even made him sign the 5th-year option. Ooh. And that would be for next year. You'd be signing that, so he'd be playing on the 5th-year option next year, right? And you sign him at the end of that next year, right? You pull a Jerry Jones. Because I'm Jerry Jones. I don't want to pay him right now. Because I'm Jerry. Well, you just get to pay top market value of 2026 instead of 2024. The way the Lions set up his contract is he gets to finish out his rookie deal, and then he gets 2026 money from 2024 value when his contract kicks in. That's how smart franchises do it, that get out of the way. You don't see Sheila sidestepping Brad Holmes and me like, oh, no, but I want this player. We should wait. I don't give a shit what you think, Sheila. No offense. And that's the best thing about our team is the owner no longer gets in the way. You've hired football people to make football decisions. Brilliant. Paul Jones says, I'm sticking with my 3-loss prediction. Looking pretty good right now, Paul. It's looking pretty good right now. I love my Lions, but I'll tell you what, that Buffalo game looks pretty scary. And by the time we get to play San Francisco, I think that they're going to be in fighting mode too. And that's going to be a really, really hard game to win. out there at Candlestick. We will be ready for the Fudge Packers at our house. If that happens with WWE Raw, wrestling would go nuts. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man. Sometimes when you guys talk to each other, it's hard. I'm doing my best, okay? I'm doing my best. I can hear one of my son's timers downstairs. 31-14 Lions. Laporta scores a touchdown in street clothes. I like that call. I wouldn't put any money on it. Coach Prime has already said he'd be happy at Colorado, but I always say stuff like that right before they dip and quit. No, if he had an opportunity to go and coach the pros, he would dip on any opportunity. Paul Jones says 82-10 with Rory getting a touchdown. What's the over-under on that one? Come on, Paul, put some of that cheese down. Oh, gosh. Jerry Jones has half of his cap tied up in nearly 2 players. They will have a tired recovery, I think, to be a good team based on that alone. They're done. They're done. The thing is like when people tell you that a team is in cap hell, it's not right now. Cap hell, when they say cap hell, it means a couple years later. Because these things, you still have, when you become in cap hell, you still have a kick the can down the road type of thing, move some contracts around. You can still do some things. But eventually that bubble, whoa, it's got too much. And when it blows up, then you run into the problems that you're running into right now, Jerry Jones. Which is one of the reasons why I go back to it. I always save every morning when I come in here, I get it ready because I always like to bring it up for the Lions here. With the way that they've got their cap, they're in such a fluid cap area right now. I mean, even with these players signed, you know, in 2025, the Lions have 41 players signed already. There's 53 people on the roster, folks. They have 41 of those players already signed. And that's without, you know, Carlton Davis. That's without Kevin Zeitler. You know, they have this $62 million because they're going to make some moves. They're going to re-sign Hutchinson. They're probably going to re-sign Kirby Joseph. And for those of you that talk about re-signing Laporta and Branch, pump the brakes because we don't have to worry about that until 2026 when they have this money. And that's going to be where the first set of restructures happen. And by the way, restructures don't hinder the team at all. Lions are set up so good, not just for this year, but for years to come. It's like they're actually set up better for years to come than they are this year. Honestly, next year, I mean, think about that. Think about how good the Lions are set up just going into next year without whether we win a Super Bowl or not. We're already set up to win a Super Bowl. We got enough players. We got a roster ready for that. But even going into next year, they're not going to lose any of these players. I mean, a couple of the players, but they may not lose any of them. You don't think that they could extend Carlton Davis before the season's out and, you know, and put something right on there for him? He's got dead money because of the way his contract was working out. Carlton Davis does. He's got a void year with a $9 million cap hit. That's an easy fix. Yeah. Yeah, we can give you a signing bonus Sign you to a 2-year extension. That gives you options after that first year. Carlton Davis be on there. There's 42 players. Zeitler, you may keep him for another. That's 43 players. There's not going to be a lot of moving pieces. Is actually the point that I make here. It's like, and then next year you get to roll into the season with, Broderick Martin, Levi Onwuzurike, Ali McNeil, DJ Reader still under contract. Aiden Hutchinson, you can get him going, and Zadarius Smith. Guess what you're not going for? I mean, you'll probably get best man available. You're looking for a dog player. But there's no starting spots that are really going to be available going forward. So we got our Super Bowl roster set. And in 2025 and 2026 look even better. Bronson Reed, new bloodline member. Russell needs to join the OTC. That's right. If you smell what the Rock is cooking. Jerry Jones is going full Mike Ilitch. But if he does hire Dion to coach and draft his kid, the whole fan base will step in line again. Do you think so? I mean, that puts some amazing pressure on that situation. If they do that, I mean, the chances of that being able to work, man, I don't know. Only the top 51 go against the cap. Yeah. Let's see what else we got in here. Mike Tyson. We got a lot of Mike Tyson. Saquon Barkley playing the best ball ever. Paul Jones says you will make less money and work twice as hard. Pay off his 9 and extend him. Stretch to $9 million over the signing bonus. Yeah, but what the point being with that is that they got options, right? They could have him. I mean, maybe Ennis Rakestraw's ready by then. You have the next bun in the oven even afterwards. But if they need to sign him, because when you're looking at this in 2026, you got 41 guys already under contract with $62 million after that. Hutchinson will get the 5th-year option, especially if he cannot play in the postseason. They'll have an entire season to work on Hutchinson. I don't agree with you on that part. I don't think that they'll do a 5th-year option with him. When you're trying to do something like that, the price is not going to go down; it's going to go up. So you want to get him signed as quickly as possible after he's eligible to, because market value is gonna, that position, especially Jeremy, that position is gonna go up so much during that 5th-year option. So the longer they take, the more expensive that gets done. And I don't think that even Hutchinson wants it to last that long. They don't want to be out there doing that, And a lot of Bear fans are saying that Ben Johnson will be their new head coach. Ben Johnson said that he wanted to go to a place that was set and a very good opportunity for him. He says it has to be the perfect opportunity. That is a Ben Johnson quote, Steve. And I know that you're just kind of trolling with that. And I know that they are saying that, but that's Bear fans saying that. I don't think that Ben Johnson would go to the Bears. I don't think their ownership is good. I don't think they're going to open up the doors in the right way for him. They're just not set up well there. I honestly am one of the people that think that you may actually see Ben Johnson stay again. He may stay in Detroit again. I mean, if you think about it, Ben Johnson's one of the younger coordinators in the league right now. And he's getting a first-class education on how to build a franchise from the ground up. And I think part of the reason he stayed is because he wanted to see that process, just the process of taking a team to a championship through. And he doesn't want to he didn't take the Carolina job because Carolina is a dumpster fire. He wants to go into a spot that is going to work for him. You know, New York might be the worst spot in the world for like media and whatnot, but they're the ones that might give him exactly what he wants. And what Ben Johnson needs is more control if he goes into a spot. And he doesn't want to be in over his head on the processes. So he's learning right now underneath Dan Campbell how to run. I actually believe that Aaron Glenn is more of a head coach right now than Ben Johnson would be. I mean, Aaron Glenn has done more with less. I mean, you infuse Aaron Glenn with a little bit of talent. Look what he does. Look what he's done with this defense minus its best players. You know, could Ben Johnson still be running this offense right now as good as he is? Would we be still putting up the production that we are if Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker were out for 5 games? Could the production be as good? Because that's what Aaron Glenn's doing. I mean, you take out Davenport, Hutchinson, and Kaminsky, and Derek Barnes, you're talking about 4 of the best players on your defense. And not only did the defense not suffer, maybe a little bit in pass rushing the first couple weeks, but it actually got better. He actually improved the defense. So I actually think Aaron Glenn's more of a head coaching candidate after this year. Better extend Hutch after the season is over. I think they do it as quickly as possible. There are certain players that you do that with. And I think that Hutchinson is one of those guys. They did it with Sewell. You accept the 5th-year option first, then you worry about the positions, then they resign. Yeah, well, that's the way they did the contract. But they did the extension the minute that they were able to do the extension is what I'm talking about, Jeremy. We're talking 2 different things here. You're right. The way that the contract looks for Sewell, and you can look at it right on here. The way the contract looks, it's Sewell got his extension. This is 24 money. 2024 money right here. So where it's $1 million the first year, $8 million is the cap number. That's him finishing his contract. They didn't really even mess with his money all that much in the first year. That's about what it was for being a first round pick. And then the 5th-year option comes in there, right? Actually, they're getting a better deal than the 5th-year option for their 5th-year option for Penei Sewell by doing this early. A 5th-year option would have cost them a hell of a lot more than $9 million or $7 million on the cap. That would have been a $20 million hit. So really, I think that the 5th-year option starts here a year later, where the cap number, the base salary is 19 million, and then the cap number is 28 million filled in with the bonuses. And then in 2027, it's the same deal. So this is where the contract actually starts at 2026, and then 2027. Right? Here's where the contract actually starts. Now, when 2026 comes, the money that you're going to be getting for tackles is going to be way more than 28 million. They might be getting 35 million a year by that time. So them getting that deal done early, and they probably will do it the same. Why wouldn't they do it the same way with Hutchinson? This is the way that they're doing the things, and I think that they keep it the same. I don't know why they would change it. So yeah, Hutchinson probably gets done in the same way. And the way that it looks like here, Jeremy, is that they bumped the 5th-year option. It's almost like they bumped it back a year, and then they start the contract in that 2 years after the bonus is done. And then you pay less for the year that you actually have, where you would have had this the 5th-year option. The 4th year, then they accepted the 5th-year option was a rate, but it didn't cost them as much as a 5th-year option would have cost, because the 5th-year option, you take the top 5 contracts that are out there, and then you give them the average. That's how a 5th-year option works. And the 5th-year option is also all guaranteed money. That's all in there. If you just pay it and then you're throwing in it, that's a guaranteed contract. Usually with the 5th-year option, most of that money is guaranteed. And by them extending him and putting him into the 5th-year option, they're actually able to lower the cap numbers, because obviously you convert that to signing bonus. Ben only leaves Detroit with a ring already on his finger. AG may be gone regardless, though. Yeah, but Ben may stay with a ring on his finger too, because there's a thing called dynasty too. And really, I honestly, if I'm Ben Johnson, and I ain't just saying this just to be a homer because I want him to stay. If I'm Ben Johnson, and you have all of these skill players that are going to be here, you got Jared Goff, Decker, Sewell, Amon-Ra, Glasgow, Brock Wright. You got all of these players on offense, Jameson Williams. You have them for years. You have them for like the next 3 years. So if you're Ben Johnson, why wouldn't you want to at least, see the peak of what that offense is that you built? You built your offense for the players that are there. So don't be surprised. I mean, you can tell me all day long, I'm crazy. Russ, you're crazy. There's no way that Ben Johnson's going to stay again. Maybe I am crazy, but if he does stay, just remember, you heard it here first. Ben Johnson is going to stay. Says he might be staying for a long time. Wouldn't that be the biggest surprise Like, not only does he not, like, does he stay again, but could you imagine him going and saying, Ben Johnson signs a 4-year offensive coordinator deal with the Detroit Lions on the offseason? Would that really surprise you if they locked him up right along with Jared Goff? Have him here every year that Jared Goff is here? I mean, who knows? I mean, he may just go take the deal. Maybe he goes and coaches Chicago. Who cares? For competition, you should like that. So here's the question right here. Henry Gray has it. So who would you like to see replace AG as defensive coordinator? Who would you like? That's a good question. Who's out there? Would you try to go get Robert Saleh? Steal him away from the Packers? Me personally, I think that it's from within. If AG leaves, and by the way, AG seems like a better fit for Chicago than Ben Johnson would be. The type of defense that AG likes to play, AG would fit right into that Chicago mentality. I could see him going to Chicago before Ben Johnson would. But replacing AG, I think it's either Kelvin Shepherd or it would be Terrell Williams. Honestly, I think that's where it would be. Kelvin Shepherd, linebackers coach, or Terrell Williams, defensive tackles coach. And honestly, I think it would probably be Kelvin Shepherd. So your great organizations, Rams, 49ers, Philadelphia, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, does that sound right to everyone? Yes. The Rams paid Martz more than any coach, than the coach Vermeil at the time. He can stay and still be compensated. See, that's the thing, Paul, is we have a salary cap, right? The salary cap comes in, but the salary cap doesn't apply to coordinators and coaches. So you technically you could pay Ben Johnson $15 million a year to be the offensive coordinator. And that would be smart, honestly. I like that call. See, Jeremy agrees with me. But my bet would be Terrell Williams or Kelvin Shepherd. I think Kelvin Shepherd would be the one, because the Lions love the seniority thing, right? Kelvin Shepherd's been here a little bit longer. I love Terrell Williams might even be the better coach, but there's something about working your way up the ladder here. And the cool thing is if they promote from within, checking this out, they have under the Rooney Rule, when you promote minority coaches, then you can get compensatory draft picks. Now, coming into this next year, I believe that the Lions are going to really start playing this compensatory draft pick game, because if AG leaves and becomes a head coach, that's one compensatory draft pick. If Kelvin Shepherd gets promoted to defensive coordinator within the organization, that counts because you're getting a promotion. then they would get another compensatory draft pick. Because you're losing, one of your position coaches. So they can play this game and receive extra draft compensation for giving minority coaches opportunities. Ben Johnson already makes a buttload for Ben Johnson. Money's not going to be the determining factor in this. I don't think that it really matters. I mean, I don't think anybody in the world would disagree that Ben Johnson should get paid like the most handsome, the handsomest any offensive coordinator's ever been paid. So you start there and throw a little bit more money on that, and then keep him. Keep the band together. That's why the Steelers were so good in the 70s. That's why the Patriots were so good during the salary cap thing, because you had a quarterback that was willing to continue to move his money down the road in Tom Brady, and they would draft and develop guys, and then when they would come to hold the team hostage because they're so good, Patriots would just let them leave and let the next man up. But the Lions have a unique opportunity here to really recreate what was done in the 70s, because like I'd shown you right there with the salary cap, this team's going to be here for the next 3 years at least, with 3 major contracts that they're able to reconstruct. Like, the team that you see right now for the Lions is the team that's good. That's our 2025 team and 2026 team. And in 2026 is where the first time where they're going to have to shuffle money. And we don't know who we're going to have. There's going to be some contracts that are going to come up in that time. There's not a lot of cap space left over in that time, but we still have 32 of our guys signed. And then, you got guys like Alex Anzalone at that time, DJ Reader, Carlton Davis, Khalif Raymond. Those guys are guys that you want to get re-signed. And that's where you can take a guy like Jared Goff, who has $55 million in 2026, and you can convert a whole bunch of that to signing bonus, kick that can down the road. You can do it with Penei Sewell, $19 million worth. You can do it with Aleem McNeil at $23 million worth, or you can do it with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there's over $100 million in equity available in 2026. So this band is going to be here. He's built it right. Just be ready. It's like, enjoy it. Enjoy it. I believe that he makes 12 to 14 million as a coordinator right now. So they extend him out. 3-year extension, $50 million. It doesn't matter, right? They make billions. It's not like they would ever lose any money. They're making a shitload of money off of the Lions the way that they are right now. Pay the man whatever he wants. Oh, well, they paid Ben Johnson $20 million a year to be a coordinator. Who gives a shit? Ain't my money. Pay him whatever he wants. I also named the team that run a 4-2-5 defense in college as well. I think the cool thing about our defense is you can't name it. We don't run anything. We run whatever you need to have run. We can either attack you with lots more linebackers, which the 4-2-5 does, where you got more cornerbacks, you got more secondary defenders. The 4-2-5 works for that. Or if you're going run, stop, heavy, we can go heavy linebacker if you want to and run the 4-3 or the 4-6. So we have a multiple defense. that can change and morph right in the middle of the game. That was one of the things that Aaron Glenn was talking about. That he laughs at the people that try to do that, like try to tell you what kind of defense. Well, why'd you switch from 4-2? Like, we switch all the time. We switch 20 defenses. You know, they could switch defense by the play. Now, I think that their base defense has 2 linebackers and 3 safeties or 3 cornerbacks. That I think that their base defense runs in that nickel. So for the most of their stuff comes out of that package, with an extra cornerback and only running 2 linebackers on the team on the field at a time. But they run so many other defenses. They have so many other packages that I don't even think that you can call it that. Chad says, I think it would be Shepard. It's the seniority thing, isn't it? Scotty Reno says that Ben said that his family loves it and he doesn't want to leave. Or at least that's why he turned down the commander job. They said that an offer would have to blow his doors off. That was his quote, not mine. The offer would have to blow his doors off. I love talking football with you guys. I dig it. Got a big game tomorrow. It's a big game, not big game. Is it a big game? It's the Lion Villain Report. You can join me Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. Talking football. Shoot, we even talked boxing. We were even talking about Jake Paul, the legendary boxer, beating Mike Tyson. Not prime Mike Tyson. 58 years old. Calcium deposits in his knees and hips, Mike Tyson. It's shameful. It's shameful that AT&T Stadium was packed to see that. But the bright side of that is that AT&T Stadium was full of people watching the undercard and actually got to see boxing matches with real boxers. And that was a good thing. I don't know. I think that's good for boxing. That's my opinion on it. Because when you look at those undercards right there, and you're looking at that, like I can, let's just say I cared nothing. I thought Jake Paul was the worst human being in the world and I hated to fight. I won't even watch the fight. I'm not even watching the main event. But I know that millions of people also watched Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor can't fill up AT&T Stadium. Niraj Goyat, who won by unanimous decision. I wouldn't have cared about that game or that fight unless Jake Paul that drew all the people and Mike Tyson that drew all the people there. So I hated the fight. I hate the fact that they did fight. It wasn't entertaining as far as that fight is concerned, but it did put a lot of eyes on boxing. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but it is what it is. That's my thought on that. I don't care if you want to promote boxing like WWE, that's fine. That's fine. Some of it's going to be entertainment, but some of it's going to be real competition. And I think that's a brilliant way to promote it. Jake Paul's entertaining. And even if you don't think that he is, he's got millions of followers and lots of people that give a shit what he does. And a lot of those people are going to get to watch good boxing. Even Reno said. Scotty Reno was talking about that earlier. the undercard was good. The undercard was good. And Adam Schefter did an interview with Ben Johnson, said if he leaves, it would be two things: a great organization, a mind-blowing contract. Now, does that mean a mind-blowing contract could get him to stay? Like, who cares what you pay a head coach or a coordinator? Who cares? Pay Ben Johnson $20 million a year. Fuck it. Sorry to drop the F-bomb, but fuck it. For one, it's not our money. Two, it doesn't count against the cap. Who cares? Keep the band together. If it's a possibility, do it. So, but the key matchup to me, to recap before I send everybody on their way, to me, the key matchups is that defensive line. That's the only part that gives me concern, because they've got like 12 sacks in between them. Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker are better than advertised, and they could create problems. If there's a path to a close game, or dare I say a Jaguar victory, it starts with that defensive line. But good thing we have Penei Sewell. Good thing that we have Taylor Decker. We have a good offensive line that should be able to keep them at bay most of the day. And their pass defense was trash. So we should be able to exploit them right there. So Ben Johnson exploiting that defense, putting up points. I think they are going to score a lot of points. And then offensively, there's Mac Jones. I mean, take him right out of the game. This should be a defensive game. This is a game that defense should be licking their chops, trying to get sacks and hold them under 10 points. This is a game that they could do that in. Can they do that? So that's the key matchup to me. Stopping that offense, because that offense shouldn't be able to do anything against you. Keeping them under contained. We've been able to stop every run. And then containing that defensive line. That's the key matchups for me. What are your key matchups? You can throw them in there. This has been Saturday Morning Live here on the Villain Report, where we do discuss the key matchups for the game. We're broadcasting live into the Villain Squad Facebook page. We're approaching 60,000 followers. When we get to 60, I'm going to make a new graphic. Why have billions when we can have thousands? So we're on our way to 60. Thank you for everybody that supports that. We're brought to you by NFL Shop. You can use the link in the comments. Save up to 30% off of your order. And it's faith, family, and then football on this program. We use football to create memories. We use football to spend time with our family. We don't let football use us. So I'm going to take off. Thank you, everybody, for popping on. I'll leave you with the blessing. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again. And that's going to be on a Victory Monday. Let's do this. All right. Go Lions. God bless.
And yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Opportunity, your opportunity. your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.